He promised to help me with college, then spent it all on my half-sister. When I asked why, he said I'd figure it out. I've always been the easy one. No drama, good grades, on-time curfews, never gave anyone a reason to doubt me. My mom used to say I was born with a checklist in my hand, and I guess that was true. Because I spent my whole childhood believing if I just did everything right, I'd never be left behind. My parents divorced when I was 7. It wasn't messy, just quiet and fast. My mom moved us across town and my dad remarried within the year. His new wife was nice in that overly polite way. Always smiled. Always made things sound like a suggestion when they weren't. They had a daughter, Hannah, when I was 9. Half-sister, technically. But everyone just called her his second chance. Growing up, I saw my dad every other weekend and 2 weeks every summer. It wasn't perfect, but he showed up. Picked me up in his button-downs, played. Classic rock in the car, took me to bookstores and ice cream shops like we were best friends. He'd always ask how school was going. Always told me how proud he was. "You're the kind of kid parents dream of," he'd say. I held on to that like gospel. By junior year of high school, I had one goal: get into Columbia. It was ambitious, yeah. But I had the grades, the APs, the clubs, the essays. I worked late shifts at the library to help pay for application fees. My mom supported me emotionally, but money was always tight. Dad was the one who used to say, "Work hard now so I can pay for college instead of therapy." I took that as a promise. The college fund had always been part of the plan. He mentioned it casually for years, at Christmas dinners, after report cards, in those quick side comments like, "That 529's looking healthy, I never asked." To see it, never felt the need. Because why would I? This was my dad. Hannah started high school while I was deep in applications, private school, fancy uniforms, STEM enrichment programs, abroad opportunities. I didn't ask how they afforded it. I figured his job paid well and her mom probably chipped in. Still, I noticed things. He canceled a few visits, responded to texts slower, forgot my birthday dinner and sent flowers 2 days late. I chalked it up to being busy. When I got into Columbia, I called him first. He picked up on the second ring. I barely got the words out before he said, "Holy shit." "You did it," I cried, not because I was overwhelmed, because I needed him to be proud. He said, "Let's talk more this weekend. I want to sit down and go over everything." The weekend came. I dressed nice, like I was going to a job interview. He took me to lunch, not our usual diner, but some quiet place with too many wine options and soft music. He asked about scholarships, about loans, about backup plans. I started to feel cold. Finally, I said, "Dad, what about the college fund?" He looked down at his napkin, folded it, unfolded it, then said, "We should talk." He didn't look me in the eye when he said it. We had to use a lot of it, for Hannah. The private school wasn't cheap, and she's going to need it for college too. I didn't understand at first. I thought he was just saying he moved some money around. So I asked, "How much is left?" And he said nothing. That's when I realized I didn't take it well. At first, I just blinked at him, like I must have misheard. Like maybe I missed a part. A yet. A don't worry. A we'll figure it out. But there was nothing else coming. Just silence. I felt my throat close. My whole body went hot. My jaw locked and my eyes burned before I could even blink them clear. "You used my college fund? For her?" He winced, just barely. Like the words stung, but not enough to make him bleed. "Don't do that, sweetheart. It wasn't a competition. We're one family." And that's when I snapped. "No, you're one family. I'm the fucking side quest." People were looking. I didn't care. My voice shook. My hands did too. I grabbed my bag and stood up so fast the chair screeched behind me. He said my name once. Just once. Soft. Like it could fix something. It couldn't. I walked out before I could start crying in front of him, and I cried the whole drive home. Loud, ugly, shaking sobs that didn't stop even after I parked. My mom thought I was overreacting. When I got home, puffy-eyed and shaking, I told her what he'd done. She hugged me, listened, let me cry it out. But later, when I asked if we could take him to court or something, she just sighed and said, "There's nothing in writing, and he's still her father." Yeah, I know, that's the problem. I asked my dad for details, how much was left, what I could still use, what we could work with. He said, "I don't have the exact number." I asked, "Was it half?" Silence. Less? More silence. "Was there anything left for me?" He said, "You're resilient. I knew you'd figure it out." I hung up on him and threw my phone so hard it cracked the screen. The next week, I got a financial aid estimate from Columbia. My stomach dropped. Even with the grants and scholarships, it was way too much. I'd need loans. Big ones. Co-signed. Mom. Didn't qualify. I emailed my dad. He didn't respond for 3 days. Then he sent, "I don't think co-signing would be wise right now. The market's unstable. Like I was an investment." I saw a post on Facebook from Hannah. She was on a campus tour, not Columbia, but close. So excited to see my future school. Blessed to have supportive parents. There were balloons, a gift. Basket in the hotel. Matching sweatshirts. I stared at the screen until the letters blurred, and I swear I almost threw up. I confronted him, not over text, in person, at his house. I needed to see his face. He looked surprised when I showed up, like I'd forgotten my place. I asked him, calmly at first, "Did you give her money for that trip?" He said, "It was a family thing." I laughed. Then I snapped. What was I? A fucking rental? Stepmom came out of the kitchen, tried to diffuse. "Sweetheart, don't make this hostile. You're still welcome here." I don't want to be welcome. I want to be valued. She blinked like she'd been slapped. My dad didn't say a word, just stood there. Still, like silence could fix it again. I walked out and slammed the door. Hannah watched from the top of the stairs. Didn't say anything. I tried to make Columbia work anyway. Started looking at off-campus jobs. Took extra shifts at the library, looked into living 3 to a room just to afford rent. I was exhausted. Burned out before I even started. The acceptance letter that used to make me glow now felt like a joke with my name on it. When I finally gave up the spot, I didn't cry. That part was already done. I just clicked the withdrawal button and stared at the screen. There was no confetti. No, "Are you sure?" Just a cold confirmation email 5 minutes later. "We wish you the best in your future academic journey. I enrolled in a state school, got decent aid, close enough to commute, small enough to disappear in." When I told my dad, he replied, "I'm proud of you for being practical." I blocked his number that night, not out of spite, just self-defense. People kept asking if I was excited to start college. I said yes, smiled, said it was going to be great. And every time I said it, I imagined what it would have felt like to unpack boxes in New York, to hang a photo of me and my dad on a dorm room wall, and not feel like the idiot who believed a man like him would pick me twice. I stopped saying his name out loud, started referring to him as my dad in lowercase, like an afterthought. Like someone I used to know. When professors asked about parents for forms, I just put my mom's info. For emergency contact, I listed my roommate. No hesitation, he still texted. Not often, just enough to remind me he thought we were okay. "How's, school? Proud of you, kid. Let's grab lunch soon." I left him on read. Some messages I didn't even open. Just swiped away like notifications from a weather app. I kept working. Classes, shifts, ramen for dinner. Group projects that felt like therapy. My mom didn't ask about him much, but sometimes, late at night, she'd say, "He's still your father." And I'd nod, just to keep the peace. But in my head, I answered, "No, he was." Then he wasn't. I ran into Hannah at the grocery store over break. She was wearing a Columbia hoodie. Of course she was. She smiled, said, "Hey," asked if I'd seen the new student center. I said no. She looked confused. Said, "Didn't you get in?" I smiled. Didn't. "Have the funds." Her face fell a little. She said sorry. I said, "Don't be. I'm learning just fine on my own." And walked away. He sent me a birthday card. Well, she did. Stepmom, her handwriting. "We're so proud of the woman you're becoming. Love, Dad and Lisa." I tore it in half without reading the rest. Didn't throw it out right away. Just left the pieces on my desk for a week, then dumped them in the recycling bin when I got tired of the mess. He invited me to Thanksgiving, said they'd love to have me, that it would be just like old times. I didn't respond. Spent the day watching TV with my mom and burning stuffing because we were laughing too hard to time it right. It wasn't fancy. It was honest. He told people I was going through a phase, that I'd cool off, that I was just overwhelmed with school. I let him spin whatever version made him feel better. Because if he had to lie to sleep at night, that wasn't my problem anymore. I got a package in the mail, no return label, inside, a leather planner. My initials on the front, a note tucked inside the cover, "For the future you're building. Proud of you." I didn't even hesitate. I dropped it in the donation bin at the church near campus. Some other girl could use it. My roommate asked if I missed him. I said, "Sometimes." She asked which part, the person or the role. I said, "The promises." And that was the truth. I missed the idea of a father who would have followed through. Finals week, sophomore year. I got an award. Highest GPA in my department. Everyone clapped. My professor shook my hand. Someone took a picture. I smiled, said thanks, waved politely. And when I walked off stage, all I could think was, he doesn't even know. And I didn't feel sad. I felt free. Graduation day came and went. I didn't send out invites, didn't post about it. My professor gave me a hug. My roommate brought flowers. My mom took pictures on an outdated phone. It was perfect, quiet, earned. I wore the gown like armor. No one from my dad's side reached out, no text. No, "We're proud of you," no card. And for once, I didn't wonder why. I just packed up my apartment, signed a lease in another city, and left without saying goodbye. New job, new address, new SIM card. My voicemail didn't have my name on it anymore. Just a tone, then silence. I think he called once. I never checked the message. Some things don't need to be heard to be understood. Hannah DM'd me on Instagram. She said, he'd been sick. Some heart scare. Stable now. He misses you. I stared at the screen. Typed, "Tell him I said thanks for the lesson." Deleted it. Typed again. He should have thought of that before he spent my future on someone else's comfort. Hit send, blocked her. I got a letter a few weeks later, handwritten, sloppy. Like it had been rewritten a dozen times. He said he knew he hurt me, that he thought he was doing what was best for everyone, that he didn't realize how deeply it would cut, that he was sorry, and that he missed his little girl. I didn't write back. I opened the letter. I read it. I cried. But I didn't write back. Because sometimes people apologize because they feel bad, not because they've changed. My HR paperwork came in at the new job, emergency contact, medical proxy, next of kin. I listed my mom, then clicked remove next to his name. It felt small. It felt final. Lisa, the stepmom, messaged me. Something long, too long, about how he tried, how he wasn't perfect, but he always loved you. That. He deserves a second chance. I responded, I deserved a first one. Blocked her too. I walked past a bookstore downtown. They had a back-to-school display in the window. One of the notebooks had my old dream school's logo on it, Columbia. White lettering, dark navy. I walked in, bought it, wrote one thing inside. I made it anyway. Years later, I started mentoring students, kids like me, first gen, low income, trying so hard it made their knuckles bleed. One of them asked me once, how do you keep going when no one shows up for you? I said, "You show up for yourself, and then you keep the door open for people who deserve a seat beside you."